Good morning, everybody. All right, today we are doing lesson 23 problem set, and we're going to kind of graduate into word problems that kind of tie everything up. We're going to be drawing polygons, we're going to be labeling side lengths, we're going to throw in some tape diagram work, and also be calculating perimeter, and I think maybe even possibly some area. So we got it all bundled up in today's lesson. So we're going to get started with number 1, and it says Gail makes a miniature stop sign, a regular octagon. So just as a review, regular means all equal sides, all equal angles, octagon, which I'm not going to be able to draw, but I will do my best, with a perimeter of 48 centimeters for the town he built with blocks. What is the length of each side of the stop sign? So let's start off by drawing an octagon. So an octagon, think octopus, is 8 sides. So there's 3, here's 4, 5, 6. Why am I off? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I'm not. Okay. There's my 8 sides. All right. And it has a perimeter. I know my perimeter is 48 centimeters, but what I don't know is what is this side length. Okay. And since this is a stop sign, we'll just call an S for a stop sign side length. So what we don't know is S. And so if we think about this, if I have a total, let's work with a tape diagram here. So if I have a total perimeter of 48, right, that's going to go down here because that's where our total goes. And an octagon has 8 equal parts. It's regular, so we know they're all going to be congruent. So I would need to put in 7 cuts to my model to create the 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are my 8 cuts or my 8 sections. And if I don't know what goes in each of those, I would put my variable there, indicating that I don't know what all those spaces are equal to. So when we see a tape diagram where we have a total and we're trying to determine an equal part, right? These are all of equal size. We would use division to calculate that. So I would say 48 divided by my 8 sides equals the length of a side. Don't forget your variable. We're putting it in there. You might as well stick it in your equation and demonstrate mastery of that standard. So 48 divided by 8 is 6. So each side length is 6 centimeters long. Okay. Number 2 says, Travis bends wire to make rectangles. Each rectangle measures 34 inches by 12 inches. Okay, so I know I'm doing a rectangle. I know there are more than one rectangle. Or actually, let's see, yes, for 2 rectangles, and they're each 34 inches by 12 inches. What is the total length for 2 rectangles? Okay, so here's my first rectangle, right? And if this is a 12 by 34, right, it would look like this. And he's making 2 of these. I'm only going to draw 1 because we can just double it once we get to that point. So here's my first rectangle. And if I were going to add this up, right, I could put my 2 side lengths together, plus another 12 plus 34. A 12 plus a 34, I know it doesn't require regrouping, so I have 46. So I'll have a 46 plus a 46, which would require regrouping. So I'm going to go ahead and stack them off to the side, and I get 52. Okay. So just double checking my math because for some reason, yeah, not 52. Like that does not feel right. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 1 more is 92, not 52. All right, trust your gut, people. It'll give you good information. All right, so one rectangle is 92 inches, and he has actually done two of them. So 92 times 2, let's keep it nice and simple. Make sure we don't make any mistakes since that's not a typical multiplication problem we do in third grade. So I have 92 here, right? And it gives me a chance to show off my tape diagram. 92 and a 92, each rectangle represents that, will give us the total of the two rectangles. So T equals 92 plus 92. I'm going to go ahead and stack them. 4, 9, and 9 is 18, plus one more is 19. So the total length or the total perimeter of the two rectangles is 194 inches. Continuing on down to number 3, we have the perimeter of a rectangular bathroom is 32 feet. The width of the room is 8 feet. What is the length of the room? So I'm trying to talk noisy because I got some dishwashing going on behind me. The perimeter of a rectangular bathroom is 32 feet. The width of the room is 8. So I know that one of my side lengths is 8 feet. I know my perimeter is 32. Okay, so my perimeter equals 32 feet. So what we have to do here, and this one's kind of sneaky because it makes it feel like you need to put a 4 here, right? Oh, 8 times 4 is 32. Well, that's going to give us the area that is not going to tell us the perimeter. So be careful because not only is it, making it seem like you need to find the area just because of the way it's set up, they're also actually giving you a perimeter in which you could multiply that side length by and find it. So we have to be more strategic than that and know that perimeter means we have to kind of cut this rectangle in half and figure out what these two side lengths are. So if I'm thinking 32 divided by 2, right? Now that's kind of a tricky one because you have to think like, what is half of 32? Okay, well, I know half of 30 is 15, right? And half of 2 is 1. So half of 32 would be 16. I know, it's not an easy problem here. So I here know that this one is 8 feet. So I have to think 8 plus what equals my 16? Well, 8 plus 8 equals 16. So this actually is not just a rectangle. It's supposed to be shaped like a square. What is the length of the room? All side lengths are 8 feet long. All sides are 8 feet long. And if you think about this, back to this 32, right? 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, 4 eighths would equal 32. So you might have discovered the answer that way if you were kind of seeing it in terms of what that 4 really represented. All right, let's continue on. So on the back side, we have Raj uses 6-inch square tiles to make a rectangle as shown below. What is the perimeter of the rectangle in inches? So we have each one of these represents 6. So when we're calculating perimeter of a gridded area, you need to count each of these as if it's a side length, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure you tick mark them. 8, and make sure you go around the corners. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so there are 16 sixes. So if I have 16 sixes, that's what my problem is going to look like, right? Or I could add up 16 6 times, or I could do the commutative property and add up 6 times. So one strategy, right, would be to do the 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16. It doesn't match my figure, but I know that 16 times 6 is the same as 6 times 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is one strategy. The other would actually be to use distributive property to solve 16 times 6. And at this time of the year, you guys are really good at this when you're kind of reminded on how to do it. Think about this 16, right? This 16 is a 10 plus a 6. It has 10 ones and it's got, I'm sorry, yeah, it has 1 10 and 6 ones. So we have 10, we could think of it as the 10 times the 6, not the 60, that's what it equals, plus the 6 times the 6. Okay, so here I end up with 60 plus 36, which equals a total perimeter of 96. And what are we working in? Inches. Okay. Now, if we go this way, you're going to end up at the same answer. You can just kind of do this pull down strategy until you get there. 16 plus 16 is 32. Just make sure you're clustering them together so that you're not double dipping into one of your 16s or forgetting one outside. So 32 and 32 would be 64. 64 plus this one still here is going to equal 96 as well. Okay, so either way, do whatever strategy you feel like you are comfortable with and accurate with. All right, number 5 says Mishka makes a 4, or Misha makes a 6 foot by a 4 foot by 6 foot rectangular banner. She puts ribbon around the outside edges. The ribbon costs $2 per foot. What is the total cost of the ribbon? So she makes a 4 by 6 banner. So let's start off with that. Right, here's our 4 by 6 banner. And she's putting ribbon around the outside edges. Now the outside edges means we are calculating for what? Yes, perimeter. Now before we can get to how much everything costs, we need to know how long this ribbon is going to be to fit around the perimeter of the figure. So I've got a 4 plus 6 plus another 4 plus 6. And I'm going to review the formula for perimeter on this one too, since it's a nice, neat figure. And we end up with 10 plus 10 equals the perimeter of 20 feet. Now, if you have been using the actual formula, perimeter equals 2 times length plus 2 times width, we could think 2 times the length, right, which is our 6. So we could say 2 times 6 plus our width, which is 4. 2 times 4 is going to solve the exact same problem, and we will still get 20 feet. So that would be an alternative way to solve this. Now, each foot costs $2. So if we have 20 feet and each foot is $2, then we would multiply, right? We have 20 feet times $2 a foot equals $40. She pays $40. She will pay $40. Okay. Finally, Colton buys a roll of wire fencing that is 120 yards long. That sounds like a title to me. He uses it, a total. He uses it to fence in his 18-yard by 24-yard rectangular garden. Will he have enough wire fencing left over to fence in a 6 by 8 yard? So he has a yard that's 18 by 24. Okay, so here's our 18 by 24 yard. And what we need to do is calculate this perimeter, right? So I'm going to add up all my side lengths. I'm going to keep it nice and organized as I go. And 18 plus 24, I smell some regroup in there, right? So I have 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 42. Okay, so I have a 42 plus a 42, which equals an 84. Okay, so 84 yards is how much fencing he needs for this rectangular garden. And he's got 120. Okay, so if we think about this in terms of a tape diagram, he has a total of 120 yards of fencing. Okay, then he has 84 going to the garden. So the question is, does he have enough for his pet rabbit? Okay, which is he wants to make a 6x8 yard. So let's figure out how much fencing he has left over. When we have a part and an unknown and a total, we use subtraction to find it. So 120 minus 84, okay, equals 11 minus 8 is 2. 26 yards is what he has left over. Now, if he does a 6x8, don't fall into this trap and say, oh, he needs 48 yards of fencing. Well, no, he doesn't, because that's the area of the pet rabbit cage or play space. So you have to kind of draw it, and remember, we have to calculate with addition, right? And he might not have enough, but he certainly doesn't need 48 yards. So 8 plus 6, right, plus another 8 plus 6 gives us 6 plus 8 is 14 plus 14, which equals 28 yards. So does he have enough? No, but he's only 2 yards short. Okay, no, he doesn't. Doesn't have enough. He needs 2 more yards. He was close. He just needs to make that little space for that bunny a little bit smaller. All right. So expectations on your homework when you're doing this independently, please draw the figures that are being described in the problems. Please label the side lengths. Make sure you're showing me math and have a clear statement in words what your answer is. Some problems will lend themselves to a tape diagram, so please use them when it kind of makes sense on these. But I should see a fair amount of work and organization in your thinking so that I can kind of track how you're solving these. All right, off you go, and I will see you next time.